start the recording because this will be on YouTube on our Beyond Limits with Ralph Havens YouTube show, and it'll also be on the podcast When Doctors Don't Have Answers. So wherever you're watching this, welcome. I'm on Facebook Live right now, and what showed up today for your session, and every time I do one of these videos, there's a matrix energetics session for you. And what that means is there's a transmission to this video. And what that means is you might be different. You can be different even from the chair you're sitting in right now. So that if you were to test something, your range of motion in your shoulders or your neck or your back, you could be different right now. And it's been something that's been so cool for me to see over the 10 years of using matrix energetics and the 35 classes in that I've taken. And it's just so fun. One of the reasons I took so many classes in it was just pure fun. And it was fun to be in that space with hundreds of people and the whole energy of this space where anything's possible. I saw some things change that were beyond belief. I saw a guy walk that was in an electric wheelchair that hadn't walked in 10, 20 years or so. And so crazy stuff happens around matrix energetics. And if you were to test something for yourself, you might notice that something's different. You know, even look in the mirror and see if you look different as far as how young you look, or bags under your eyes, or if something changes for you, would you know it? So I encourage you to do that with all of these videos, to test something that's real for you so that you can retest later and see what's different for you. You know, one of the things that came up today was the autoimmune thing. So it's called self against self. Basically, autoimmune is a condition where your own body is attacking itself. You know, it can show up as diagnoses like rheumatoid arthritis or ulcerative colitis or irritable bowel. Actually, I don't know if irritable bowel, that's more of an inflammatory disorder. Crohn's disease. But you can almost think of anything as a self against self kind of thing. The body is protecting itself from something, and the protection is then showing up as some kind of problem, you know, a pain in a joint, a breakdown in the joint, some sort of anxiety or depression or some kind of thing. And so I expanded out when I think of autoimmune as more expansive, like, you know, self against self. And one thing that I want to help you shift today is the idea of relationships. So we're going to use a matrix energetics frequency to help with that, and we're going to I'm going to tell a little story about how it showed up for me over these years, and in a way that you can change things for yourself. So years ago, in 2000 I started studying with Sharon G. Mateo, a medical intuitive who was very skilled in finding and literally fixing up conditions. And I saw many medical type conditions just cleared, and people were getting their health back in all sorts of levels. I saw lots of miracles. And one of the things about her and her instructors that she had trained, and they worked out of a big clinic in Connecticut, and they had, I think, 14 clinics around the world. One of the things that they were able to do is to see things. They could look across a room or even over a phone line and see somebody's body, and then notice where the body was having problems, what it was trying to protect and how it was trying to protect it, and why somebody was showing up with these different autoimmune conditions and other conditions. And then there was techniques to go clear it. And when I first saw her do that back in February of 2000, I knew I had to learn that. It was like, wow, if that's possible, and I just saw it all weekend long, then I got to learn that. And we brought her into the clinic in San Diego and brought her therapist in, and I went around the country, and every month I was somewhere around the country or Canada taking a class. And it was very intimidating because it wasn't a lot of energy medicine kind of things. It's very woo-woo and very like go how you like to go, and whatever you see is valid, and just kind of like play with the energy and that kind of thing. But with this work, it was where's the problem and what is it exactly? Is it spiritual, and where is it? And how is it affecting the rest of the body? And is it mental? Is it emotional? Is there an artery problem? Is there a vein problem? Why is there an artery problem or vein problem? What's the liver doing? So, and then there was techniques to literally clear it. And so as I learned this technique and did this, it pushed a lot of my buttons, because these guys that were showing me this and training me were very highly skilled, and they could really look at me and see if I got it or if I didn't get it, if I was right or if I was wrong. And we could see with the results of the clients. So it pushed a lot of my self-worth issues. You know, when I was in these classes and there was these therapists that were also instructors in the class, and you're working with them and learning, and then you're in class and doing labs where you have to work on each other, and you're under the gun kind of. You're like, you're exposed, and if you don't get it right, everybody's going to know. And everybody actually can see your own stuff. They can see the mental, emotional, spiritual stuff in your body, and they know what's going on, and they can see stuff. So it was a very uncomfortable thing. Now, well, the cool thing was there was also lots of techniques to work on myself. So I worked on the inner parts of my brain. It's called the subcortical structures, to release what's called limbic rage, survival response. Because when you're under the gun like that, you can, and a lot of people feel under the gun all the time, you can clear these different structures in your brain and in your body and around your heart and other organs of your body, and clear these survival mechanisms, these things where you're attacking yourself. And so I had many opportunities to do that, because I was under a lot of self-imposed pressure to be really good at this technique. And so I worked on myself a lot, because I wanted to be more and more comfortable. It's what cleared my anxiety that up until age 37 had been a lifelong problem. But then it cleared. And part of it was I put myself in these situations with very high level practitioners where I was literally exposed, and people could see my stuff. And then I had to work on myself to clear that, so that I could be even clearer to help people with their stuff. And when you do that kind of work, you have to work on yourself. There's a blueprint called the self-judgment blueprint. It's a technique. It takes about an hour or two to do. And we had to do it numerous times to ourselves. Because when you can see stuff, you've got to clear your own stuff. Because if you're, as a practitioner, judging somebody else, that's not cool. Because all judgment is self-judgment, right? All judgment is really self-judgment, self against self. And so if we saw stuff that was not right in somebody's body, not right, has a problem, we couldn't blame them or judge them. It's like there was a certain level of integrity where you had to work on yourself a lot. And Sharon used to say she would much rather have a therapist that had 100 hours of treatment and 10 hours of classwork than the opposite, And I found that to be true. A lot of working on myself was really key to being clear, so that I could help other people in a bigger way. And so for you this morning, one way to do this without having to go through all that medical intuitive training, there's a really cool way to do it that I found over this last year or so. And so I'll tell you a little bit about that. What you can do is think about who you're comfortable around. Who you're comfortable around. Like, are you comfortable around people that have a certain amount of money, but not people that have another amount of money? Are you comfortable around people that seem to have their stuff together? Or are you comfortable around people that don't have their stuff together? Like life's not going so well. The people that life is going well, are you kind of uncomfortable around them? So there's interesting things that can show up. It can show up as like the guy that wants to date the hot girl. He might just not feel up to it. Out of my league kind of thing. And so when you notice who you're comfortable around and who you're not comfortable around, you can start to notice what it does in your body. And there's a way to clear that. And I can see and shift that without any judgment, helping people with the matrix energetics and the medical intuitive work and all that kind of stuff. And it's really cool to do. It's awesome to do. There's also a really cool thing that you can learn to do for yourself, so that you can notice when that shows up and then go right to it and clear it, so that you don't have to distance yourself from somebody or some type of situation. You know, if you're in a classroom and you're the one that doesn't want to raise their hand because of all the inner stuff that comes up when you think of talking in front of people, that kind of thing, if you were to clear that, the ramifications throughout your whole life can be huge, right? Can be huge. And if you have kids, you know, would you want your kids to notice when you cower a little bit, when you're less than yourself, when you're not yourself, when you're kind of fighting yourself and it's all self-imposed? You know, if you have kids, would you want them to see that and model that for them? Or would you want to use these situations where things push your buttons and things make you uncomfortable and certain people you don't feel good around because you put them in some elevated position or something in your own mind, whether they're richer or more famous or more or better looking, or, you know, whatever it is that you put in there, it's kind of a self against self thing. And so all judgment is self-judgment. And if there was a way to find, you know, when you have that, you can feel it in your body, right? And so there's a way to use a technique to clear it on the spot. And so the next time it shows up, it's either gone and you're comfortable with somebody, or there's more work to do. And so there's things I can do to help with that. And there's also something really powerful you can do for yourself. So for today, right now, what you might want to do is think about something that where you're fighting yourself, where you're judging yourself and it's showing up as judging somebody else, or you're uncomfortable around a certain type of person, or a certain person that has more money or has more status or is better looking or seems to have things together, or whatever pushes your buttons. Yeah, you can think about that. And we're going to go right to, I'm going to use matrix energetics right now. And this is a really cool thing to do, especially these days with things like Twitter, because I've been listening to some of the stuff. I listen a little bit on when I drive home from work, just to see what's going on in the world a little bit. And there's people that are literally killed themselves because other people Twitter about them, you know, make some comment that judges them. Yeah, so this is important to shift, right? So we're going to use a frequency in matrix energetics, and we're going to, it's frequency 3. We're going to invert it wherever that's useful. And we're going to turn it up wherever it's useful. And then we're going to 2-point that. Now, one of the things about being on these videos is you have a matrix energetics transmission. And instead of telling you how to do matrix energetics, which isn't really something to do, you can experience something and you'll start to get it. And then words can make more sense about it. But right now, you might want to just notice what you're noticing in your body, and notice where you're judging it, where you're calling it fear or anxiety or nervousness or hate or rage or some thought. And instead, if you want, you can just notice it without any judgment, just for a moment. Just kind of notice what it's doing in your body right now. That's it. That's it. Frequency 3. Harmonize, harmonize, harmonize. Yeah, let's shift this pattern right here. one of the cool things about being yourself is there's no pressure. It's like you can just be yourself. So even though I saw a harmonica and I played a little harmonica and I put it over here and I got the spit out and stuck it right here and thought about a certain musician, that's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous. And it's perfect. And I can do whatever I want to do, right? Isn't that funny? So what would it be like if you could do whatever you want to do and be you completely, fully, and connect with people completely, fully today? And notice where you're judging yourself and judging others and having a judgment system of who's better than who. And if you could let go of all that today, right now, what might that free up for you? All right. So there's many ways to get more of this kind of stuff. I put a link, I believe it's in the comments or in the description, and I'll put more of it, where you can have a short 2-minute session. It's really cool because this stuff can be very fast and you can use it over and over again. You can also use this video over and over again. And there's another link that I'll link, ralphhavens.com/enlighten up, where I can walk you through the other way that I found. We used a little bit of it today. And it's actually a technique that Buddha used, but I can show you how to do a technique that's been really cool. And the cool thing is it's a way for you to do your own deep inner work to clear any of your own self against self judgment stuff when it shows up, and how to do that. And so you can grab that. It's a PDF, it's 2 PDFs and a video training of it, because it's more involved than just telling you how to do a little thing. So if you want that, it's ralphhavens.com/enlighten up. And there's also a link in there in the description about a 2-minute miracle session. So enjoy all this stuff. If you like it, hit subscribe, hit comment, share it. If you need anything, let me know what you need and what you want and what you're noticing that's different. So you might want to test what's different for you today, right now. See if something's different. Look in the mirror, see if you're different. Test how we move, see if it's different, and let us know. Leave a comment. So all right. So let's get out there and live. Let's really live. ralphhavens.com/enlighten up, and also look for that 2-minute miracle session. Bye now.